Good day! Today, I will present to you DepEd Order Number 50, Series of 2014, Guidelines on the Recruitment, Selection, and Placement of Personnel pursuant to the DepEd Rationalization Program under Executive Order 366, Series of 2004. I will present the contents in the following order: background, rationale and purpose, major provisions, filling up of positions in the RSP, filling up of positions at the school level, services to be outsourced, rehiring of retired or separated personnel, qualification standard for DepEd unique positions. Background. On November 15, 2013, the Rationalization Plan or RP of the Department of Education was approved by the Department of Budget and Management or DBM. As provided in the approval, personnel whose plantilla items were affected by the rationalization had the following options: A. Remain in government service through converting their respective item or items from regular to coterminous with the incumbent or CTI status, either in DepEd, including schools or other agencies. Or B. Avail of retirement or separation package with the applicable incentives. Personnel whose items were affected and were considered for placement to the same or comparable position or positions had to undergo the set criteria and provisions stated in DepEd Order Numbers 53, Series of 2013, and 27, Series of 2014. Last June 13, 2014, the decisions on placement of personnel and plantilla positions as reflected in the comparative matrices and corresponding annexes were submitted to the DBM. The submission to DBM reflected the following stopping actions: A. Position items, whether filled or vacant, that will be retained in the rationalized stopping pattern or RSP. B. Position items that will be converted to coterminous with the incumbent or CTI status. C. Position items that will be transferred to other offices within or outside the department. D. Position items that will be abolished since these positions were not approved in the RSP and were not filled up, vacated by the incumbents who choose the retirement or separation option, or vacated by the incumbents who were placed in comparable positions. And E. Position items that will still be created and given unique plantilla item numbers upon the issuance of the Notice of Organization, Stopping, and Compensation Action or NOSCA. Rationale and purpose. While waiting for the issuance of the NOSCA by the DBM, the department recognizes the need to hire the manpower necessary to perform the functions and services. Hence, these guidelines are being issued to facilitate the process of personnel placements and transfers, and filling up of vacant positions in the rationalized stopping pattern or RSP. Legal basis. These are supported by the following pertinent policy directions from the DBM and Civil Service Commission or CSC. Item number 231 of the DBM Circular Letter number 2013-5 dated July 22, 2013 states that the departments with approved RP are no longer covered by the moratorium on the filling of positions or hiring of personnel, and prior authorization for the purpose from the DBM is no longer necessary. Item number 3 in the Civil Service Commission or CSC Memorandum Circular or MC number 3 Series of 2014 dated February 6, 2014 on the clarification on the guidelines on the placement of personnel relative to the implementation of approved rationalization plans of agencies states that regular recruitment and placement shall commence when all incumbents are placed to the same or comparable positions in the approved rationalized staffing pattern. The agency may perform the preliminary processes of screening and assessment prior to the issuance of the NOSCA by the DBM. The agency shall use the indicative staffing pattern included in the approved RP as reference for placement of personnel to comparable positions, and the agency may also conduct the screening and assessment processes for residual vacant positions after placement to comparable positions. However, the agency shall wait for the issuance of the NOSCA by the DBM prior to the issuance of appointment for said positions. Types of vacant positions. There are two types of vacant positions in the rationalized staffing pattern. Existing vacant positions. These are the vacant positions with existing plantilla item numbers that are retained and reflected in the rationalized staffing pattern. And new positions. These are the newly created positions in the RSP, wherein the plantilla item numbers will be provided upon the issuance of the NOSCA. Major provisions. Given these guidelines from CSC and DBM, these provisions should be followed. The recruitment and selection process for the vacant positions, whether existing vacant or new, shall follow the provisions and criteria in DepEd Order No. 66, Series of 2007, entitled Guidelines on the Appointment and Promotion of Other Teaching, Related Teaching, and Non-Teaching Personnel, and DepEd Order No. 29, Series of 2002, entitled Merit Selection Plan of the Department of Education. For the existing vacant positions, the DepEd Central Office, Regional Offices, and Schools Division Offices may conduct the complete recruitment and selection process up to and including the issuance of appointments. DepEd Order No. 66, Series of 2007, Section 1, Item Numbers 1 to 15. For the new positions, the DepEd Central Office, Regional Offices, and Schools Division Offices may conduct the preliminary process of screening and assessment of personnel up to and including the submission of this resolution of the Personnel Selection Board or PSB to the respective appointing authorities prior to the issuance of the NOSCA. DepEd Order No. 66, Series of 2007, Section 1, Item Numbers 1 to 12. However, no appointments shall be issued before the NOSCA is issued by the DBM, and upon the issuance of the NOSCA, the DepEd offices shall ensure that the appropriate appointments and notices based on the placement to the same or comparable positions are completed and issued first before issuing appointments related to filling up of vacancies or promotions. Filling up of positions in the RSP. In addition, the following reminders and guidelines are hereby provided in the application of DepEd Order No. 66, Series of 2007. The vacant positions shall be open to all qualified and interested applicants from within and external to DepEd. The indicative staffing pattern included in the approved DepEd RP shall be used as reference in the publication of existing vacant and newly created positions in compliance with Republic Act 7041, requiring the publication of vacant positions in government offices, and DepEd Order No. 66, Series of 2007. For new positions, indicate new in lieu of the plantilla item number. Approved positions in the RSP where personnel have been placed in the same or comparable positions are not considered vacant and should not be included in the publication and posting of vacancies. The placed personnel shall fill up these positions. Upon clarification from the CSE, the minimum requirements indicated in the CSE Qualification Standards Manual of 1997 are to be followed for applicants to be eligible for the vacant positions. For positions unique to DepEd, please refer to the 1995 Qualification Standards Manual for unique positions and other recent DepEd issuance that directly modified the 1995 standards. Please refer to Annex A. Employees that have been placed to the same or comparable positions may still view for promotion to higher positions, provided they meet the qualification requirements. The results of their latest performance rating shall be used as one of the references. The composition of the Personnel Selection Board, or PSB, shall be retained for the Central, Regional, and Schools Division offices. In the event that the Central Office, Regional Offices, Schools Division offices does not have an appointed or designated official to serve as chairperson of the PSB, the appointing authority shall designate the next highest official responsible for personnel management to be the chairperson of the PSB. The appointing authority shall designate competent and qualified personnel to serve as members of the PSB only. In cases where there are no appointed or designated personnel holding positions identified to be members of the PSB, as stated in DepEd Order No. 66, Series of 2007. Upon receipt of the NOSCA from the DBM, the DepEd offices may conduct recruitment and selection procedures for new positions as stipulated in Section 1 of DepEd Order No. 66, Series of 2007. Appointments shall first be issued to incumbents placed to the same or comparable positions, which may have different position titles and or plantilla item numbers than the previous items held. The officer in charge of personnel matters shall indicate on the appointment paper or CSE Form 33, reappointment pursuant to Executive Order 366, Series of 2004, and for employees whose plantilla item numbers were retained and converted to CTI, a plantilla type of notice may be prepared instead of individual notices. Please refer to Annex B for the template. A copy of the notice shall be submitted to the Central Office, Personnel Division, and the respective CSE Field Office for record purposes. After appointments or notices have been issued to the placed personnel, only then shall the appointing authority decide on the rank list or selection lineup submitted by the PSB for appointment or promotion to vacant new positions. For offices which have conducted preliminary recruitment and selection procedures as provided by item number 9 of this order, succeeding procedures of item numbers 13 to 15 of DepEd Order No. 66, Series of 2007 may be conducted upon receipt of the NOSCA, and placed personnel who qualify during the regular selection process shall be issued reappointment for promotion. The vacated position shall be declared vacant. Filling up of positions at the school level. Existing vacant non-teaching positions at the school level may now be filled up without waiting for the release of the NOSCA, following the guidelines under DepEd Order No. 29, Series of 2002, and DepEd Order No. 66, Series of 2007, provided that vacant positions are included in the 1997 Organization and Staffing Standards for Elementary and Secondary Schools, and vacant positions are not included in the functions or services recommended for outsourcing, that is, utility, building and grounds maintenance, security, and transportation or mobility. Services to be outsourced. Following DBM Circular Letter 2013-5, and in lieu of filling up vacant items, certain services at the Central Office, regional offices, and schools division offices, as well as in the schools, may be outsourced on a need basis through the hiring of consultants or job order or contract of service personnel, where no employer-employee relationship exists, subject to the availability of funds for MOE, and provided it is consistent with the following. Overall policy under the approved RP on services or areas which can be outsourced, that is utility, building and grounds maintenance, security, transportation or mobility, and information technology, and pertinent budgetary, civil service, accounting, and auditing rules and regulations. To maximize utilization of existing manpower, DepEd offices or units with personnel holding CTI items are not authorized to hire personnel under contract of service or job order who will perform similar functions as those being performed by the personnel with CTI items. Please refer to the item number 232 of the DBM Circular Letter 2013-5 dated July 22, 2013. Rehiring of retired or separated personnel. As a reiteration of Section 17 of the IRR of EO 366 Series of 2004 and item number 2.4 of the DBM Circular Letter 2013-5, employees who choose the retirement or separation option cannot be appointed or hired as casuals or contractuals in any agency of the executive branch, including GOCCs or GFIs, within a period of 5 years wherein reemployment will be considered as new entry to civil service. Retired or separated personnel may be appointed as teaching or medical staff in educational institutions and the hospitals. DepEd regular or permanent personnel who availed of the retirement or separation option under Executive Order 366 Series of 2004 cannot be rehired under contract of service or job order arrangement. On a need basis, DepEd offices may continue to engage the services of casual personnel under contract of service or COS or job order or JO status with the following provisions. There should be a justified need for the continued services to the department, where agency type functions such as utility, building and grounds maintenance, security, and transportation or mobility, the COS or JO staff may be pulled together and considered as shared services of offices. For functions identified to be performed by regular plantilla items, COS or JO personnel may be allowed to perform the functions. However, heads of offices will not be allowed to fill up the regular plantilla items. Hiring under COS or JO arrangement shall be subject to the availability of existing MOE funds and to existing government budgeting, accounting, and auditing rules and regulations, and service contracts shall follow the existing guidelines on hiring COS and JO employees. No work, no pay basis, no employer-employee relationship. Here are the annexes included in DepEd Order Number 50, Series of 2014. Annex A, Qualification Standards for DepEd Unique Positions, under the approved DepEd Rationalized Staffing Pattern or RSP. Annex B, Plantilla Type of Notice. Thank you for listening.